Welcome to the Making of Me podcast, where we explore the stories, experience, and challenges that shape us into who we have become. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Rahul Prasad, applied physicist, global philanthropist, and author of Impact Shift, with a career spanning cutting-edge science, research, humanitarians, leadership, and global philanthropy. Dr. Rahul's journey is about more than science or business success. It's about using knowledge, leadership, and compassion to create meaningful change in the world. It's really a pleasure to have you on the show, Dr. Rahul.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So, Dr. Rahul, what were some of the moments or challenges that shape you into who you have become today?
Well, many in the course of my life. Obviously, as many gray hairs I have,
Yeah.
I've experienced a fair amount. And every single challenge I viewed as an opportunity to create something from it. I
Mm,
always look at, personally, I'm an optimist. I look at the glass as always half full. I always
mm,
look at every cloud, it has a silver lining. And so I have shaped myself with all the challenges that I have withstood. And oftentimes it's not challenges. I mean, I became a scientist, for example, because at the very early age of 8 years old, I watched Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon.
mm.
And my father told me that he was a scientist. And I said, oh, then I'm going to be a scientist because I want to follow in Neil
Uh,
Armstrong's footsteps.
Amazing.
So that was not a challenge, but it really did define who I became. And of course, it was something that worked with my own thinking process, if you will, because I'm also a very curious individual. I always want to find out how things work. And so becoming a applied physicist was perfect because I learned how things work. And
Yeah.
and I get paid for it. It can't be better than that.
Yeah. Yes, true. Amazing, amazing. I think how you came to more like I'll become a physicist is really funny because there's a particular book I actually read earlier. I think it was The Alchemist, and his father was trying to convince the young boy that what do you want to be? So daddy, I want to be a traveler. He said he wanted to travel the world, and his dad was telling him
Yes.
that, yeah, but in our part of our world, nobody travels the world apart from being a chef, apart from the shepherd. So then I will be a shepherd. So it
There you
was
go.
an amazing conversation between dad and son, making reference to what they will become. So when you just make reference of, when you say you actually more like you saw it on the set, your daddy make reference of it that what Armstrong was my physicist, and I told you that yes, then I want to be a physicist. Like the
Yeah.
conversation just click. I was like, wow, amazing. Yeah, yeah, thank you. So you have actually
And
more like work at the intersection of science or leadership and philanthropy. How did you
yes.
begin connecting these three worlds?
Okay. So that's an interesting story. First of all, I was working on science. I
Yeah.
became an applied physicist. I went into the workforce, but I was always searching for some way in which to help people. I was obviously helping people with my scientific discoveries, but at one point in time in my career, a few years ago, I came to the conclusion that the pace was not as rapid as I would like it. And because of being a person that has always been interested in educating the next generation from the very get go, because I believe the children are our future, I have always been involved a little bit here and there with a little bit of work, volunteering, doing work for raising money for children in disadvantaged backgrounds in particular, because I also feel that children can give a tremendous amount to humanity if they're given a chance. And they're not only people who are born on the right side of the tracks, people born on the wrong side of the tracks, it's all the same. Brains are not decided by how much money you have. That is
Yeah.
something which is God given, and it is the same for everyone.
Hmm.
That
Amazing.
is not discriminated upon. So I started to think that it might be better to shift a little bit from being a leader in physics and to shift to philanthropy and change my focus, not giving up what I was doing so much as starting something new. And then I
Yeah.
got more involved in philanthropy, and I could see the change right away when I visited the place. We work in two organizations, Butterflies, which works in India, in New Delhi, and Amandla Development, which works in Cape Town, in Philippi, and going to both places and seeing the work that is being done there and seeing the impact it's having on the lives of the youth, it was immediate.
Hmm.
And so that's why I have focused more and more of my energy into getting into philanthropy. And it was this journey that I took that led to the book, which I have just recently published last month, Impact Shift, which
Mm,
describes my journey from being a physicist to a philanthropist, as well as then offers suggestions as to how people who are looking to make a change can make the change without making it drastic, without
mm.
making it abrupt, but dipping your toe in the water and seeing, do I like it? Do I want to do this? Should I continue?
Yeah, yeah, amazing, amazing. I think this is really, really interesting, being that the mindset beyond especially earlier on when you just start making reference or start explaining, make reference of the fact that your brain is not attached to the fact that to how much money you get, and that really got me. And I was like, "Whoosh!" That really speaks volumes to the outliers, being that yes, having money does not equate to having brains all around, and
Exactly.
evenly distributed, even in the low states, in the low society where there is not much, there are a whole lot of genius in there. They really just need the lady assistance. And I'm really glad with the work you do. And I must say, very
And
thank you.
and it's not even a little assistance in terms of any kind of monetary assistance, as much as it is to let them realize that opportunities are available for them, to show them that there is a world out there. One of the things which truly struck me was when I was in Butterflies in India, in New Delhi, and I was talking to one of the children. They have a cooperative bank because the children that are associated with Butterflies, they range from age 10 to 18, and
Mm.
they almost all work. And they live on the streets, so they don't have an address, so they cannot get a bank account. So when they get paid, they get robbed because
Ouch.
the, the
Yeah.
thieves know it's payday, there'll be cash. And these are young people, they don't have the way to protect themselves. So we created a bank, a cooperative bank, but to help them save their money, to be able to keep their money safely. But the flip side of that, the side effect was amazing because I was talking to this young man and he explained to me how this bank works. And I said, "So what is your role in the bank?" He says, "Well, I'm the bank manager." And I said, "Okay,
Mm.
that's very good. When you finish your high school, what are you going to do?" He says, "Well, I'm going to get a college degree and then I'm going to work at a bank." And I said, "And
Mm.
what are you going to do in the bank?" And he says, "I am going to be a bank manager." And I said, "And why do you think you will be a bank manager?" He says, "Because I just did it. I'm already a bank manager and I don't even have a degree yet."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that to me was the spark. Now, this kid is bright, amazing
Yeah.
amount of work that he can do. His math is really good. He's very quick
Yeah.
with numbers. He's going to make an excellent bank manager and a bank worker.
Yeah.
But he would not have had the idea that he could do it if he didn't come to
Yeah.
Butterflies and was introduced to the fact that this was something which was not outside his reach. It was something well within his reach.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. And it's really interesting, especially when you make reference of impact shift earlier on, that when you were just starting out, it was more of trying out couples of things, dipping into the
Mhm.
water to see, do I like what I see? Should I dip it more? I think it really speaks volumes on potential, because a whole lot of persons have this misconception that yeah, there is more like a goals and aspiration that's definite for each and every person's, and their goal sometimes is to look for, in quotes, my assignment. And I'm like, especially when you just make reference, it just don't know me that which when it comes to potential sometimes and what you're capable of doing, if you didn't get kind of have a whole lot of couples of goals you get to try out. You will know what you love. You will know what you are going to be good at,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
and you will know what you are going to explore more deeply in, compared to when you try have your hands in various other different things, and then you know what. Oh,
Absolutely.
seems this speak volumes, and I can get peace from it.
Absolutely right. We only know what we know. We don't know what we don't know. And so if you don't try something outside your
Yeah,
comfort zone, you're never going to be able to do it. And so that comes to another thing which I like to do, which is when I'm presented with an opportunity to do
yeah.
something which is outside my
Okay.
comfort zone, I always ask the question, why should I do this? Which,
Mm.
of course, generally is quite an easy answer. But in addition, I ask the question, why not? And if the why not is only because you've never done it before, then it's worth doing.
Yeah,
If the why not is, well, it's not something legal, it is
yeah,
illegal, you could go to jail.
yeah,
Okay, fine, you don't do it. But open your mind to new things, to new
mm,
experiences.
yeah,
And that is really the way in which you will make a meaningful impact in the world and you will have a lot of impact on yourself. You'll be a much happier person. You will be a much more fulfilled person.
Yeah.
because you're willing to try something outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. I think a little bit of discomfort is needed every now and then to actually grow
Yes.
in another different field. Be that, yeah, most times we don't grow when we are comfort or true, but also in discomfort. Yeah, amazing.
Yes.
So, how did your science training at Yale shape the way you think about leadership and problem solving?
So it truly did form me. And a lot of people, my experience at Yale has been so positive. Actually, when somebody asks me, what is your hometown? Oftentimes, without thinking, I will say New Haven, Connecticut, which is where
Yeah.
Yale is, because I feel like I became the person that I am today
Mm,
over there. The scientific method is amazing in that the training I got there, it helps look at problems differently. You don't look at a problem and look at it as an obstacle. You look at it as
yeah.
a challenge. You try to figure out what created this, what appears to be an obstacle, which is something which is amazing when you are going into leadership as well, because you will always wind up having issues where you're going to run into something that you don't know what created this situation. And rather than just try to do the same thing that led you to that situation, it is very useful to step back and analyze, much like a scientist would. What is the data? What do I know? How can I figure out
Yeah.
how to go around this obstacle? How can I go above this obstacle? So that training that I got at Yale really helped, apart from the fact that, I was taught by people who are the leaders in their fields. So that, of course, makes a huge difference because I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be just as good as them. That gave me the courage, and my fellow students would be talking in class and answering questions, and that gave me the courage to take the lead.
Yeah.
And when a question came, who would like to lead this project? I would raise my hand and say, yes, please,
Mm,
I would like to do it. And that built on the leadership aspects of things. Yale has a very long tradition of service. And that's what got me into the whole mindset that doing something for others is a good thing to do. And so that's where the seeds were sown that has made me the human being that I am today, which is why very proudly I say New Haven,
yeah.
Connecticut is my hometown.
Yeah, amazing, amazing, amazing. And I think when you just make reference of service, and I think service is a very lovely way to begin most times. And I think I'm usually of this particular opinion that sometimes when you don't know what to do, just volunteer and do some things. Being that sometimes we don't know how to find ourselves until we lose ourselves for a particular cause. And service is
Yes.
more like a lovely way to actually get to do it. Being that the reflection that comes after the service is been done is very productive, being that you can start thinking of what could you do different when you are presented with that kind of opportunity again. And yeah,
Yes.
you could actually more like create a whole lot of different scenarios and plan a whole lot of strategy, being that you were in the scene and you saw what went on compared to when you're outside the scene
Exactly.
and you were not blessed with anything that went on there. Yeah.
Very true. I saw in my walks around my hometown, which is by the San Francisco Bay, I saw an older gentleman one day picking up trash.
Hmm.
He's got a big garbage can and he's picking up trash along the bay. And I see him again a few days later, then I see him another day, another time. So I go up to him and I say, I see you picking trash every day. Can I ask why you do this? And he said, well, because I have free time and I'd rather do something
What?
which will help
My
which will
God.
help other people as well.
Hmm.
I live here. This has been my hometown for as long as I've been alive, so I will do it. Now, that was an interesting thing because after that, I started on my walks picking up trash whenever I see it.
Ooh.
And then I see there are now 3 or 4 people
Hmm.
every day that are picking up trash. And I've talked to all of them and I've asked, so how come you're doing this? And I said, if the older gentleman over there can do it,
Hmm.
I think I can
I
do
can
it
do
too.
it too.
It
Amazing.
is all of our responsibility to keep our home clean.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And I think it makes the world better that very way when everybody start taking
Absolutely.
responsibility and setting example for the next generation. Yeah, it's really amazing.
Exactly.
It is
Exactly.
amazing.
We're 8 billion people on this planet. If everyone did a little bit, think
Yeah,
of how much we could do.
yeah, so true.
Think of how much we could achieve.
Yeah, amazing. So what role has persistence play in your personal and professional journey?
Persistence is something which is very important because it's easy to be depressed, to be upset when you
Yeah,
face an obstacle
yeah.
and you say, well, this is too hard. I'm just going to give up. I can do something else. And that is, of course, a valid way to go. But if you persist, if and persistence doesn't mean doing the same thing over again, but analyzing what created the obstacle, trying to figure out if there is a slightly different way to approach the situation, it's something which will then help overcome the obstacle. When you overcome obstacles, you will find that you get better at doing things. And of course, people who work around you, people who are working in positions that are either your peers or people who are above you in the hierarchy that you're working in, notice that. And then that helps you rise because people feel, okay, this guy gets the job done. Let's give him more responsibility. This person gets the job done. Let's give them more responsibility. That's just how you can then grow
Mm,
professionally. And of course, it is also useful to have the same kind of persistence in your personal life, in
yeah.
your own relationships. You don't give up when you have a disagreement with a significant other or with a very good dear friend. You try to solve that crisis. You try to solve that disagreement. You try to understand what led up to that disagreement. And it's the same thing which works in your professional life as well.
Yeah.
That will work in
Amazing.
your personal life.
Yeah. And I think this is really lovely, especially as you just make reference of persistence being that being able to do little things and you're committed with more and more and more and more. And it just dawned on me that persistence itself has its own energy. And even if even if someone can speak a particular language, you could actually understand that person's by their consistency
Yes,
and persistence. It's just more like a language that the whole world understands. Even if it's
exactly.
not a spoken being that it has energy and the energy is really intriguing to watch. Yeah. Yeah, amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, amazing. So you work extensively with underdeserved community globally. What
Yes.
have you learned about some human potentials from that work?
I think there's a lot of human potentials. I
Mm,
explained, the young boy that I
yeah.
spoke with who said he was going to be a bank manager. I think that the potential when you open people's minds is limitless. It's
Mm,
boundless. In Amandla, we ran a book club for a while and we read books together. The children in South
good.
Africa and a
Wow.
few of us here in the US. And then we would have discussion on the books. And what is interesting about this is not only is it clear that there is potential everywhere in the world, but it is also clear that everyone can teach everyone else.
Mm,
Because when we would finish the reading, the three of us, which were doing the book club in the US, would sit down and talk for a little bit and exchange notes on how we felt. And we would always find that we had learned something new because a different person has a different understanding of the same written material. And that opens your eyes to something new. And it wasn't that we were teaching them how to think. It wasn't anything like that. It was that everybody was thinking on their own. And we were
mm,
coming to the conclusion that there is something new that you can do.
yeah. Yeah.
And there's a lot of potential if you and the way to unlock it is to not teach necessarily, but to give them an idea, to give children an idea that the world actually has opportunities that they could get if they knew about them. And it's our responsibility to tell them that those opportunities exist.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Once again, I must say very big thank you for what you're doing and still championing. Yeah, Dr. Rahul. Yeah, thank you. So, as
Thank you.
someone who actually more like advise and invest in innovation, how do you balance out technological progress with human and social responsibility?
I think that's something that we all have to do. If you are going to be working either directly by developing something new,
Yeah.
or if you're working indirectly, as in you're helping fund something, or you're related to progress in one way or another, you have to analyze the cost. And the cost is not dollars and cents alone.
Yeah.
The cost also is the cost of this new technology that you've developed. Is it something that is actually going to improve the world, or is it potentially going to create a problem for the world? And unfortunately, just about any technology you can think of has a good use and it has a bad use. So I try to create a world where we are using technology responsibly. Everything that can be used for good can potentially be used for bad.
Yeah. True.
Somebody will find a way to twist it.
Yeah.
And it is our responsibility to try and make sure that that doesn't happen, to reduce the amount as much as possible that we can create a world which is safer and better for us
Yeah.
all to
Safer
live
and
in.
better. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Rahul. So lastly, for someone listening now who feel they want to make a difference but doesn't know where to start, what will you tell them?
Well, I think the way to start is to start. If you find something if you want to do something for somebody, find out what it is and then just start doing it. Do a little bit. If there is, for example, you're living in a community and there is an old people's home and there are elderly people who live
Yeah,
there, go there and visit with them. Have a conversation. Spend a few hours learning about their lives. It's going to be fascinating because you will learn about an era that you didn't live in.
yeah,
They
yeah,
have amazing stories to tell you. If there is a food bank where they're raising money and they are trying to provide food for people who cannot afford it, go volunteer your time there.
yeah,
Work with the people to help people who are, do just anything that interests you. If you are a person that is an ophthalmologist and you can donate your time to help people who cannot pay for eye care, and it is options are limitless. We just have to take the time to spend a little time doing something and then assess for yourself, is this something that interests me? And if it does, do a little bit more. If it doesn't, try something different. Their
yeah.
opportunities are everywhere.
Yeah, I think this is really amazing. Just keep trying. Definitely you figure out what perfectly speak volumes and how you could actually more like help greatly. And it's really amazing. Also, Dr. Rahul, before we get to go, let's talk about Shift Impacts, your book. What is one key insight you want my listener to go out from after reading the book?
Well, I think the real insight is anybody is capable of making meaningful change in the
Mm,
world. And that the way to do it is to start trying. If we think of a change, a meaningful change, as something very large, something on a global scale, it's a very daunting task.
yeah,
And it appears that one human cannot accomplish it.
yeah,
But if you think of meaningful change in your little sphere, in your community, in your neighborhood, in your street, just
mm,
maybe the two houses on either side of where you live, everybody can make a change.
yeah.
And everybody can make a change that's going to be meaningful for that small part of the world.
Amazing, amazing. I think this is really reassuring. Yeah, especially more like you don't need that so much to actually get started. If I what really get me started with podcasting at one point where when I was a bit uncomfortable with can I do it something I can figure out was the fact that I just have this mindset that let it first begin and then it can
Yes,
always get better. And my idea is more like once it's an audience of one, once I have one audience that go to listen to it, I think I'm okay. I don't need the hundreds and hundreds of
absolutely.
time. So
Absolutely.
it was a very lovely way of actually more like when I have those mentors models, it's really helped me. And there's this another quote again that make reference of it in trying to be we truly becomes, being that nobody have it all figured out when they get started.
Absolutely.
And the joy sometimes is not in the destination, but in the process. Those metaphors they just help me all out. So it was actually more like going all out even when the difficulties and everything. Yeah.
Absolutely true.
Yeah, amazing. So, Dr. Rahul, from our audience who wants to learn more from you, who wants to reach out and who wants to get your book or reach out to connect with you or for other deals, how can they reach out to you and where is the best platform?
Okay, so the book Impact Shift, it's available on Amazon and other retail outlets. It's available in Kindle format, it's available in paperback and hardback, and very soon it'll be available in audiobook. I'm actually narrating it as
Mm,
we right now, and it'll be available shortly. Reach out to me. You can find me on social media at Rahul Prasad Creates. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, so that's one way to connect with me. I'm on LinkedIn, you can connect with me there. Or you can send me an email on my website, which is rahulrprasad.com. And my email address is rahul@rahulrprasad.com.
yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you.
You just
Thank you,
remind
Aro.
us, that success is not only measured by achievements, but by the
No,
positive difference that we have in other people's life. My audience, if this conversation inspire you to think about purpose, leadership, and impact in a new way, you can actually learn more about Dr. Rahul work and upcoming and his book that is already out. The link is going to be on the show notes on how to get it. This has been the Making of Me podcast, where we discover how challenge shape purpose and how purpose shape the life we choose to live, to build. It's really a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show, Dr. Rahul.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Aro. It's a pleasure being here.